Hi Taurus, and welcome to your March 2023 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky coming on to talk to you about your month ahead. I hope you're all doing really well and enjoying this build up to the spring equinox that we're having. I'm looking forward to getting into a new year. We have a lot of changes happening this month. Pluto changing into Aquarius, Saturn changing into Pisces, Mars changing into Cancer. It's a huge shift, which I have covered in my March 2023 comprehensive astrology video, which I will link below. In this reading, I'm going to talk about Taurus Sun, Moon, Rising, and Stellium people, anybody with a strong Taurus presence in their birth chart. I'm sure this reading will resonate for you. Let's talk about March. Okay, the nodes are finishing or beginning to finish, preparing for the ending phase of being on your axis. Okay, we just have, I think, like 3 more months of it. So you have a very condensed, compacted, and serious look to take at the economic nature of your life, a serious look to take at efficiency, meaning, higher purpose, cause and effect, chain reactions in your life. What choices create what outcomes? Do we have any idea about the outcomes? Do we have any idea or a greater thought about the snowball effect of certain choices, especially, when it comes to doing another person wrong, or when it comes to creating difficulty for another person, and how much that can sometimes just ripple in the future, leading to that person like being elevated or leading to weird reactions. Okay, Taurus, what I'm trying to get at, lots of energy coming in for you this month. It's like starting to understand the higher order of things, starting to understand karma, starting to understand the larger scope. Okay, I've been talking about this a lot over these last year and a half of having the nodes in your axis. How much some people get very myopic with things, and they're like, yes, I'm gonna work full-time, extra time hours, and I'm gonna make more money, and then that money doesn't end up meaning anything to them in the future, and the time that they needed to have is now devoted to something that lacks meaning. So time and meaning, efficiency, and stature as well. How strong are you standing in the role that you're in? How strong are you standing in your future with this trajectory? I don't mean to inspire future tripping, but this last 3 months, March, April, May, and actually June, so it's really 4 more months. These next 4 months for you, Taurus, are very important when it comes to just understanding. That's all. It's not even really about action as much. Of course, understanding always leads to action and has an effect on action. But this is about the mind. Okay, this is about the mental health. This is about the understanding. This is about also realizing errors. This is about understanding previous bad judgments, which we all have as humans. I would think that the month of March of 2023 will be very harsh for people who are refusing to accept accountability, or refusing to look at the truth, and needing some kind of false narrative to justify their I don't know, neuroses that still are. It's time to really get this stuff together, Taurus, and it's time to get healthy, and it's time to move on. So moving on with understanding, your sign is so powerful right now, okay? And actually has been for a very long time. I mean, we're actually kind of ending this cycle of having Pluto trine you, right? Pluto trine for Taurus people over the last 15 years, and depending on what degrees your Taurus placements are in, that would show what specific years within that larger timeline that you had that transit. That's very supportive, and that's very empowering. A trine or a sextile from Pluto is about as good as you can get when it comes to Pluto transits. So that means that over this last 15 years, and at specific times during the last 15 years, you Taurus have maybe had more control than you realized, or maybe had more authority or power than you realized. And I would take a look at the choices you've made for other people, or I would take a look also at what that meant for them, or how they have also been transformed or impacted by the choices you've made. It's a very important time to understand impact, and an important time for any earth sign, Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, to see the way that they did have power or control, or the way that they did influence another person, and also what they prescribed another person, like if you've like predicted something for someone else, or if you've uh, made choices for another person. You get to really see that now. And for some, and this isn't a good or bad thing. Like this can be really great or it can be really tough. It depends on the outcome of those choices, and it depends on the way that the choices have changed reality or the world, especially for other people. Especially for other people. Um, Depending on where that's at, you start to get in the month of March, for the first month since 2008, you start to get a totally different consciousness, I think, about your connection with other people and about how you have influenced or connected with other people. And the trine moves from trine to square with Pluto and Aquarius. So when that happens, when you move angles like that, you get maybe the opposite reaction. Like maybe now people are wanting to make choices for you, or now people are with a lot more authority over you than you might have anticipated. And again, this can be good or bad. It's very nice to have supportive people who are clear and concise and out for our best interest, helping us to make choices. That's wonderful. That's like teamwork. That's like divine support. And that is open for you all. And I would encourage you all in the month of March to look at that. Like, who is the most pure support network for me? Who is not? Okay, who is a toxic support network? Because yes, it can also be like having people who you've never had to defer to, like having people who you never thought would like make decisions for you, like coming in like ready to do it or ready to like propose plans. Like if you can imagine, things have been getting really crazy in the world, especially in the material plane over these last few years, and very manipulative and very odd. So being that you are this material earth sign, and Pluto has been in Capricorn, changing to Aquarius, I think it becomes a lot more social, and it becomes a lot more like, what is my proximity to the material plane or to people who have things? Like if you're somebody with means or with wealth, careful during this time. You could have people like basically trying to get into the will, or getting also if you're in line for something, that's a very crazy place to be right now as well, as people might try to like do weird things. So the key, Taurus, regardless of whether any of that sensational stuff is happening or not, you have to be sturdy, you have to be honest, you have to be strategic, you have to be solid. Okay, Pluto from Capricorn to Aquarius could present like a person into your life that makes you just want to be like crazy, or makes you want to like go join the circus, or like do something really just extreme, or something that might detract from the solidity of your identity so that another person can take the place. Okay, so that's like the major thing that anybody really wants to take a look at right now. And for you, Taurus, I would just start to reinforce for yourself what your standing is, who you are, what you can come to terms with. Also, apologies are great here, whether coming from another person to you or vice versa, or just like coming to a place where you aren't afraid of the truth of your actions or the actions of other people, and you can really see it. You can really see the impact and the effect of things. That's a very sturdy place to get to right now with Pluto hitting Aquarius this month and Saturn into Pisces. It's like just seeing, just understanding what we've done, who we've been, the mistakes, and the what's the antonym of mistake, I guess, the victories or the wins, the gains. Seeing it all and understanding the way it all mixes together is a way to really get strong right now, because I think the universe is really, really patient with people who can just, again, understand. So it's about understanding, Taurus. And the main problem that Taurus has with this type of environment, with these types of transits, is like getting into a place where there needs to be disillusion or exaggeration or false histories applied in order to feel a sense of safety. You know, for example, like what children will do sometimes, like if they break something in the house and they want to blame the sibling for it to not get in trouble for it. This type of thing is very prevalent right now. It's a very simple archetype that's very active right now, where people want to, like, yes, lie or change the perception of other people in order to avoid a consequence of some form. And that ends up creating a deeper, it's like a debt, right? It's like a, and you have to pay like an energetic interest on it, basically, where like now that person that you've like accused of doing something they didn't do now might have a vendetta, or might like be like all of a sudden really supported by the universe for being like falsely accused of something. And then this can like play out like years down the line. So it's like energetic debt, the debts of reality and bending reality. All of that's very relevant right now with Pluto on this cusp. And I would say it's very relevant for the sign of Taurus. So basically, its accountability is great, and also not feeling the need to distort anything is really good right here. Because you have a certain like power, and also like just going back to that previous example, like if you break something or if you knock something over in the house, it almost helps you more to just take accountability for it, or it helps you more to just be like, oh my gosh, I've just broken this and I don't know, I was so clumsy. Or and then the person might come and they might be like, I hated that vase anyway, or I hated that object anyway, and and it might like bond you or something. It's weird how like we get afraid of like knowing that another person knows that we made a mistake. So mistakes are coming up this month, and also like, yes, maybe getting more precise and more coordinated so that we don't make those mistakes, but that maybe they also happen for a reason. Try to not be too hard on yourself if you make a mistake, and definitely don't blame another person for it, okay? Anyway, what else do I want to talk about before your week to week? Also, any type of plans or blueprints, really good here. So for the Taurus who are like not having these kinds of problems, the aforementioned problems, you might be more in a space of like, I'm ready to implement a plan. I'm ready to take my business to the next level. I'm ready for the promotion. In which case, I think that it's high time for you to apply yourself in a very direct way to an elevation, because this last 4 months of the North Node in your sign is very powerful. And also the last degrees of Pluto and Capricorn is really great for you and very empowering. So you might as well like work with that if you can. Okay, Taurus, week to week. First week of March, you have the Queen of Cups reversed, rooted down by the Page of Swords. So you are starting to perhaps act in a more logical way compared to being emotional. Your emotions, I feel, have been generating a lot of results for a while now, and you can start to interpret them in a more logical way in the first week to get better results, like as you're communicating to other people, or as you're trying to explain to other people your current motivations, trying to get support, or trying to work with others. Try to take as logical as a tone as you can. The Queen of Cups reversed is about maybe an over emotional or too emotionally motivated intention. So just think about that as you're communicating with others, like how emotional is this, how logical is this, as you are maybe needing to get more support from other people in the first week. In the second week of March, I'm really enthusiastic about this energy. I feel that the second week is a very lucky time for you. Nice sextile energy coming from the sun, also with Neptune there as well. You can actually start to reinvent your world in the second week of March. The Two of Wands and Page of Pentacles is a beautiful, beautiful combination of energies. This is like the inspiration with Page of Pentacles to plant new seeds, to create new projects, to create new growth. And then also the zoomed out perspective of the Two of Wands that allows you to look at all of the details of your experience and to see them from a better top-down view. It's important to get out of the trees, basically, forest for the trees. Like, try to get to a higher perspective, try to get to a higher vantage point. to look at what you've created and what you've been traversing and decide if it's worth it or if it is yielding the greater result that you want. Both of these cards depict the same type of viewpoint, right? Each are holding something and looking at it in a similar way. So it's kind of like I have this one thing that I'm really focused on, or I have this big, meaningful choice. I bet that a lot of you are having to make a big choice in the second week of March or in this general period of time, and it requires a lot of bandwidth. It requires a lot of focus. It requires a lot of thought about what the longer term momentum of this choice is. But I don't feel that it's like shadowy. I don't feel that it's frustrating or hard to be in this place. I feel that it's like a breath of fresh air, or you're growing a lot by looking at these things so deeply or focusing so much. It's like giving to yourself by not just acting or not just being kind of like haphazard with your decision making. You actually are enjoying the process of going through each of these things in a more precise way. It's a very good week for making a choice and also for collecting data or understanding about what you can add or take away from these bigger projects that you have going. Very project oriented, very long term planning oriented as well, in the sense of like a new long term plan or a new project that needs a lot of thought. Week number 3, the King of Swords rooted down by the Death reversed. So you have maybe something that you're trying to sustain. Death reversed is an important energy to look at right now. I don't think it was coming up for many of the other signs, but I feel that very strongly right now, as a lot of people are asking the question, do I keep on keeping on, or do I really reorient my life? It's a big thing right now. A lot of people are afraid, though, to say goodbye to what structure they do have, even if it's not an ultimate structure, even if it's not very satisfactory. There's kind of a feeling of like, I would rather have something that I know that works, even if it's not satisfactory, versus taking that risk or taking that big leap of faith on something that I really love, but I'm just not sure if it's going to work on pen and paper. This is going to be an important week on that cusp of Pisces and Aries, the King of Swords, to really discern that. Is this a rational fear that I have about taking this leap of faith? Or is this self-defeating? Okay. Is my hesitation to do what really matters in my life warranted now? Is this relevant to 2023? Is this like a 2015 voice talking? Is this a 2012 voice talking? Or is this a rational 2023 voice talking? I think that a lot of us just have to parse through and understand, are we assuring ourselves with a voice that is actually relevant to the current context? Or is there a muscle memory? Because this is very prevalent, especially for Taurus and Scorpio right now. As Taurus and Scorpio both, with the nodes being on your axis, right, have really big gravitational decisions to make right now. It's very normal for both of these signs to be looking back to the previous muscle memory, the previous histories, to try to choose now. And a lot of the time that's recommendable. You know, we need to understand the past, we need to understand history to know how to move forward. But also there is just something here right now that cannot be predicted, or it cannot be totally understood. So while I like all of this studious, focused parsing through energies coming up for you this month, Taurus, I do also want to validate for you that there will be a limit to what that can do, and some of this will just be like learning by doing as well. And I kind of feel like that's what some of you actually want, okay, is maybe like not a complete guarantee or something that's not totally predictable. With Uranus in your sign, right? It's kind of like in the joy of unpredictability, or the way that being incorrect or not properly considering something became a benefit or became good for us. Being pleasantly surprised, right? And then, yes, also being unpleasantly surprised. But try to parse through what you can in the third week, but then also see where there's a prevention of transformation or a prevention of change that doesn't necessarily resonate with the current timeline. Week number 4, you have the 8 of Cups rooted down by the 8 of Wands. So 2 8s, a nice double infinity energy there. You are gaining by walking away from something. You are probably seeing, after that first 3 weeks of thought and that first 3 weeks of deep discernment that there is something that has to go away, or there is something that you have to move away from in order to get or gain in the future. So it's not just about gain, it's not just about, random gain, but I do feel there's something of lack, or there's something missing that you want to understand what it is for you. It's different for everybody. And the Eight of Cups, right, goes very well with the Death reversed card, because it's like there is something there. There are those Eight Cups that you could have, but there's something more moving away from them, or something perhaps different or more substantial. And the Eight of Wands really backs it up too. It's like good luck and good fortune, and it's a beneficial energy to have in alignment with that. So yes, is it a good time to walk away from something for Taurus? I would say so, but only after a lot of discernment and a lot of understanding of like what your intention with moving away or walking away is. Is it a need for freedom? Is it a need for self-actualization? Is it a need for self-aggrandizement? Try to understand what you are needing. Okay, what is missing that leads to things needing to be walked away from? And let's talk more about that in your extended reading, Taurus. I will link it below on Patreon. I'm going to get some extra cards for you, and we'll look more into like what's missing and how it can be easily connected back to. And then also moving into your collective 12th house as we move into Aries season and getting closer to your time of the year. Come check out the extended Taurus. The Patreon service is really valuable. I do weekly forecasts. I do all of these readings early, ad-free, and extended over there. You get access to all of it with the one membership. So come check it out. It's in the center of your screen now. And let's go do this. Much love, Taurus. Bye.